The Manhattan Project was 6,000 or 7,000 people living in this really peculiar city in the middle of a desert who had no idea what the purpose of the city was. The greatest long-shot gamble in the history of science, the race to build the world's first atomic weapon, the most destructive weapon ever conceived by humankind.
You used to be able to make a mistake and 5,000 people could die. Now you can make a mistake and you can destroy the planet.
There were broken marriages, there were affairs, there were security lapses.
It's really a story about secrets and secrecy, and what secrets do to a marriage, what secrets do to families, to friendships.
Germany was probably better poised than any other country in the world to build a nuclear weapon. That's a horrifying thought.
Einstein and a couple of other scientists wrote a letter to Roosevelt saying the Germans have the capability to do this.
The Manhattan Project was the American effort to build an atomic bomb as quickly as possible during World War II.
They built it in Los Alamos, New Mexico. You had this secret place in the middle of nowhere and brought all of these physicists from around the world.
Where's everybody going?
P.O. Box 1663.
But what's the place called?
It ain't. No name, no street signs. Welcome to nowhere.
They were getting the best minds available to them, and often not telling them what they were coming here to do.
It's just almost impossible to fathom that there was a moment in the recent life of this country when a secret of this scale was kept from the populace.
We believe a member of your group is stealing secrets.
Get out.
Dr. Winter, G2 has credible intelligence.
They haven't even told you what you're doing here, have they? You have any idea what you are looking at?
So we're not here to debate science.
That's not science. Our work is so classified, the vice president doesn't know we exist. As far as he's concerned, the Manhattan Project's a leaky tunnel on the IRT.
These scientists and their families traded away a huge amount of freedom in order to live in this place and participate in this project. I mean, they basically consented to move to a prison camp in the middle of a desert. I mean, they were surrounded by barbed wire fences. They were policed by armed military patrols. They weren't able to vote. They had no telephones in their houses.
My father was a chemist. He's an expert on high explosives. One of the things you never knew at Los Alamos exactly was what your father did.
The scientists, it seems, were told not to tell their wives.
Whatever it is, Frank, you can tell me.
I can't.
Because the women didn't know what their husbands were building, their husbands couldn't go to them for emotional support.
They do this for free? You don't even have to tip them? You could invite one of them in for a glass of lemonade.
I drive in circles on Pajarito Road just to get the car dirty again.
There's this talk of just everyone was having babies left and right. What else was there to do, you know? The husbands were trying not to think about what they were doing, and everyone was just doing it all over the place. There were so many babies.
Take off your nightgown.
They had to conceal what was actually going on in here. So the birth certificates for children born in Los Alamos during World War II don't say place of birth, Los Alamos, New Mexico. They say place of birth, P.O. Box 1663, Santa Fe, New Mexico instead. So they had a security problem.
The first job was driving a government car. I picked up the people that were arriving for employment. The interesting thing was that it was also secret that we couldn't meet these guys by their real name. They were given a code name, and those guys couldn't remember it.
We got Sam Shaw's script as a writing sample.
Tommy wound up reading it, and we sat down and kind of fell in love with the project, and it's been this really fantastic professional marriage ever since. I've stolen and borrowed very liberally from the lives of physicists and their wives at Los Alamos. Frank is the protagonist of our show. He is an incredibly brilliant and also burdened guy.
Nothing to worry about.
My character, Dr. Frank Winter, theoretical nuclear physicist, is based on 2 or 3 real-life people. Frank's mission is to end the war. He doesn't sleep. He barely eats. He never sees his family. We need the bomb built yesterday. I'm the father of this ragtag team of physicists in a race to build a stronger, faster, more efficient bomb.
3 months of work for the chance that we can save the army 1 week.
There's somewhere in Germany, Hitler's got a town just like this one, full of scientists hungrier than you. That week we save could be the week that matters.
Make a housewife out of you yet, Liza Winter.
Well, I look forward to that, Rose.
Where's your husband?
I'm afraid that's above my security clearance.
I have to keep what I do secret from my wife.
Do you remember when I presented that paper on the purple orchid? It can survive almost anywhere. But it can't survive alone. It's got a partner. If you cut off that communication, the orchid just shuts down.
Liza Winter is the wife of Frank Winter, who's one of the leading physicists in the story, and she is a doctor of botany. While she is at Los Alamos, she's not allowed to practice her own work, so she's a slightly frustrated wife and mother of Callie, who is an extremely recalcitrant 17-year-old.
So I'm just supposed to stay here in this prison camp? Get knocked up by one of the guards?
Oh, don't be vulgar.
They have a relationship and a marriage that we don't associate with the 1940s. We don't associate with the past.
They were very dedicated. Those women, they were smart. They were going to do whatever it took.
What was that? You're gonna love it here, really.
I was excited about playing Abby because during the war, the roles of women changed really drastically. They were given jobs and became a lot more important. And I think the modern woman you see today, I think it really started here.
Think anyone heard of Galileo in 1590?
I bet Galileo knew how to read a road map.
Charlie and Abby Isaacs are this young couple. We find in this moment where they have this great, sexy, energetic dynamic. We're about to take them on a ride. Their marriage is going to be subjected to a lot of tests.
Your husband told you something.
Oh,
well, don't hold out.
Every day, moral questions get put aside and get further away from you based on what you need to protect your family or protect your nation. And that's incredibly difficult.
My father was the only person invited to see the Trinity test who refused to go. He had very mixed feelings. At one time, he had been asked to do a calculation about the likelihood that the first atomic explosion would actually ignite the atmosphere. He calculated that it was 1 in 10,000. And that's not nothing.
These women who came here, who were little children here, we were walking around the neighborhood and the tech area, and I was like, kept qualifying, you know, we're not, and they were like, no, it feels exactly what it felt like. It smells and feels like it, and that's what we were really going for.
The set is incredibly accurate. The set is, I walked into one of the little houses when I came the first time. Wow. When I see these green cabinets, it reminds me of the time I walked into my parents' kitchen at age 4. It was like I was right back there as a 4-year-old, and here I am, you know, 72. So it's a long time ago. But it was as if no time had passed.
It's very hard for us while we're doing the show not to keep stepping out and saying, you realize what you're doing? So a character like Charlie, who's a new character, can have that feeling. But I think what will be fascinating with the show, which is what happens to all of us, you start to realize how slowly we all can get contaminated.
This is a moment in American life where questions of military force, the ethics of the use of military force, how we reckon with weapons of mass destruction as a culture, how we reckon with secrets in a democracy.
If you hear any of these words, you're gonna press this button, and security will hop on the line.
It's fascinating. How quickly do you get absorbed in it? How quickly do you forget your moral barometer? That we all do.
What about the next war?
What happens when Stalin's got one? China, Shah of Iran.
The science is awe-inspiring, and the history is really riveting. But what's exciting to me about Manhattan is that I think it has a lot of light to shed on this particular moment we're living in right now.